Andrew, thanks so much for being here and for your help.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a great event.
Outstanding. So, some of your takeaways. What are some thoughts that you've had coming out of your session, other sessions you've been listening to?
Yeah, I'd start off by saying I think what I've heard across the board is, like last year, this is a period of unbelievable uncertainty. And I think Ashley mentioned it really well in her monologue earlier on. People need some sense of security. They need some sense of uncertainty. We happen to be in a really uncertain time right now. I think what happens sometimes when that's the case is there's a lot of fear. Because as things change, people who are in their entrenched ways of doing things are scared to change. And people who are around the periphery trying to change things, because there's so much of a fray, tend to default to things like language people don't understand to explain what they do. So I'm hoping one of the things we see this year, and I hear a lot, if I were to kind of coalesce a lot of statements we've heard, is a sense of rationality around what we're doing. What's really meaningful in what we're doing? And I think a good example of this, we talked about how you measure return on investment for ads, measuring sales off shelves, and there was a lot of comments about, well, why can't we measure in real time shares off, what's being sold? And the truth is, consumers don't buy things immediately. So if you think about the sales cycle on buying laundry detergent, that's not an immediate thing. So I think as an industry, we need to take all the things that are great about what we're doing and about the data and the quick feedback loops and really be able to put that in the context of what consumers actually do. So one takeaway was that. I think a sense of rationality. A second thing is, and I spent a lot of my personal time working with the sell side of the industry and the AdTech world, was the extent to which we're seeing changes in the buy side of the industry. And I think that was no more evidence than the discussions we had with the different teams that are various, what we would call trade desks beforehand, and the approaches that are taken, which range everything from decentralizing and sending talent elsewhere in an organization to becoming a center of excellence for brands to being a media company. So I think that's, and the sell side, the business models that exist there right now, it seems like this is the year that a lot of that starts changing. From the buy side. From the sell side, my sense and everything we've heard is there's a lot more clout being put back on companies that have quality content of some kind or another. So we, I think we've gone through a bunch of years where as programmatic has grown and publishers haven't known what to do with it, there's been a lot of concern about what happens to CPMs and to their own brands. And I think what we're seeing now is they've started to figure it out. If you hear all the discussion around private marketplaces, my sense is they're starting to figure out those business models right now, and this year seems to be a bounce back for quality publishers.
So in this new world of programmatic for the sell side, it's like great for the Hulus of the world and the New York Times, when they want to be in that world. But what about the smaller publishers that are not going to be in that either can't gear up or aren't capable, or sort of, could there be a two-tier on the sell side between people who can invest or use automated services versus those who are maybe smaller, or those that don't fit into these private marketplaces that WPP or IPG's created maybe a certain list of publishers? Is there a chance that there could be kind of a two-tier world?
Absolutely. I think with fragmentation, what you have is scenarios where you actually have really good content around, but that just doesn't get scale. And those are companies that will never attract the attention of big buyers, so they need a way to sell. In the traditional media world, you could look at local television and companies like Katz that represented that media on an aggregate level, and there's absolutely still a place for that as well. I think, and we, as an industry, we've rightfully looked at fraud and looked at viewability. In a way, though, that's also discounted what a lot of those folks do who are actually doing the right thing and have good content. So there's an opportunity there for sure.